worried about foreclosure and don't know who to trust? In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how I helped this Kansas City family sell their property that was facing foreclosure on a reverse mortgage and get peace of mind without paying anything out of pocket and walking away with zero debt. And I'm going to show you the exact path that we took him down to resolve all of his issues and worries. And at the end of this video, you'll hear exactly what it was like. Out-of-state owner closes in 21 days, a case study. I want you to remember this number, 682. This is going to be the story of Mr. Jennings. I first connected with Mr. Jennings about 2 years ago through a cold call. All right. And during our conversation, he shared that it was his first home that he had purchased, a home he and his late wife had cherished where they had raised their daughters. Although now he lived in Colorado near his daughters, he felt things could change quickly and wanted to stay in touch. After our conversation, I looked into the property's situation and I found out that it was weighed down with some back taxes, an unpaid reverse mortgage, and a judgment. All common hurdles in my line of work. Fortunately, these are issues that can be resolved before closing without requiring the seller to come out of pocket. Here's a little timeline. I originally contacted Mr. Jennings in July 11th of 22, patient follow-up. Over the years, I kept in touch with Mr. Jennings periodically, but we hadn't connected much until just before Christmas. This time, he believed his house might be in foreclosure and shared that he was ready to sell. Mr. Jennings didn't have email, so he asked me to send an offer by mail. And I did just that. He still needed to gather some information regarding his situation before he was ready to move forward. So I sent off the offer promptly, respecting his need to figure things out. The turning point. After months of silence, Mr. Jennings called explaining he had lost my number and his phone broke, but he remembered it was on the FedEx offer I had sent. When I asked why was now the right time to sell, he admitted I'm never coming back to Kansas City. And it was hard for him to accept that, but he didn't want to waste any more time. This house had meant a lot to him, and he didn't want to walk away with nothing or end up owing after the sale. Right. He had a real emotional connection to this home, and it was clear to me. I assured him that we could move forward while addressing all of his concerns, and he was pretty happy about it, that he still had time to do so. But I told him, like, we need to move pretty quickly. So from our conversation, I learned what was really important to Mr. Jennings. And I got to say, this picture is a great representation of him because I've never seen him, but he reminds me of a gentleman of the past, very well dressed, very distinguished, very certain of himself. And so I wanted this picture to reflect him. But what was important to him was he wanted to trust the person that he was going to work with. He was going to be going at this alone. His kids, they were fed up and frustrated because they had tried to get him to this point before, but he wouldn't budge. So he needed something that was going to be easy to accomplish. He wanted somebody that was going to be honest and helpful. He didn't want to walk away with any debt, even though he was okay walking away with nothing. He just didn't want to walk away still owing. He didn't want to work with an agent. He had allowed some friends to stay in the property and they had absolutely trashed it. So he didn't want to be a landlord and he didn't want to make repairs to the property. By the time I come into the picture, the home was vacant. Some additional values that he appreciated was that there will be no commissions, no closing costs, no repairs, and no fees. When I presented the offer, he felt like it was a fair offer for the home in its current condition. Overcoming the final barriers. Mr. Jennings, now in his 70s and unfamiliar with technology, he went to the library to set up an email account with assistance from a librarian. This allowed him to receive and sign the initial contract digitally, helping us avoid further delays because the home was in foreclosure, had begun the foreclosure process. So it starts with step one, the signing and the paperwork. For Mr. Jennings, he initially signed electronically. He signed a purchase contract, which was the standard document, just outlined the exact terms and conditions for the sale. He also did a seller's disclosure, which pretty much it gave us information on exactly what he knows about the property's condition, what was staying and what was leaving. And then we also did a cybersecurity notice, which just lets him know that if you are not receiving emails and texts from phone numbers that we have provided to you, do not respond to them And if you do, pick up the phone and call your contact person to verify that the person who is trying to contact you is legitimate. After he signed electronically, I'll send him a copy by email and by mail. So then the closing process begins. So I want to take a moment to just go over briefly what that looks like. So once the contract is signed, a copy of it is sent out to all parties. Then a welcome email is sent and team introductions begin. At the same time, earnest money is deposited and the title search begins. Before we close, we'll do a final inspection just to make sure that the property is in the same condition as the last time we seen it. Then, prior to closing, we'll review all closing documents. And then finally, closing and payment. Let's start with step 2, team introductions. The first part is the care team representatives. They'll reach out to you directly, which they did with Mr. Jennings. His care team rep was Gertha. She held his hand through the entire process. Any questions that he may have, scheduling notaries, making sure that all of the proper documentation was gathered and submitted in a timely fashion. Then we also had our title and escrow rep, which typically reaches out after the signing of the original purchase contract within 48 hours. On this transaction, it was Caitlin Ellis from Accurate Title located in Overland Park. And her job is to handle all title and escrow issues for the entire process. With each transaction, we give each client the name, the phone number, email, and the working hours for their immediate basic information that the title company is going to require from you, which is your government ID, your mortgage payoff, if necessary, your forwarding address, social security number. If you have a spouse, their information as well. If there are any liens, that information will be submitted during foreclosure. Any of those documents will be required as well. Step 3, escrow and title search. Earnest money deposit, better known as EMD, which you'll hear me refer to many times. So the first stop is we'll make a deposit with the title company and open up escrow typically within 48 hours or 2 business days. The receipt will be sent out to show proof that the money has been deposited. This, step 3, is validation of the contract. Without the submission of the earnest money deposit, the contract is not valid. I'm going to repeat that again. The contract is not valid if we do not submit, or whoever your buyer is, does not submit the earnest money. And then that opens up escrow and begins the title search. The earnest money receipt will look something like this. It just states that the title company is in receipt of the earnest money. It'll say how much the earnest money was for. It'll say when it was submitted, when the contract was received, who the buyer is, who the seller is, the property address, very basic information. So I just wanted to show you a picture of that so that way you can have some reference to it in the future. Step 4, clearing title. During the title process, they'll do a title search, and this will last roughly, it says 3 to 8 days, but it's really 5 to 8 days. I need to make that correction. And during this, they're looking for ownership and claims against the property. They're trying to make sure that you are the owner and that there are no additional claims against the property, such as liens and judgments. Then it'll go into resolving issues. The title company, that is, they'll begin to resolve any issues that arose during the title search. And at that point, after everything has been cleared, then title insurance will be issued, and it will look like this. There will be a full document, which I do not have on here, but this is the letter of commitment from the underlying issuer of the insurance, pretty much just telling you that, hey, we understand that you went under contract for this price. If any issue should arise in the future due to title issues, we are ensuring that the buyer is protected up until this amount, and it will be stated on this paper. Step 5, final inspection. So this is Mr. Jennings' actual property. As you can see, it needs some TLC, but there is nothing that is structurally wrong with the property. It's outdated, but well maintained structurally. So let's go into the document review. So this will happen prior to closing. We'll first start with verifying. We'll review the settlement statement and the closing documents with you. You'll go over them, making sure that all of your personal information is correct. Then we'll move over to step 2. If there are any corrections or problems that you identify in the paperwork, we'll send that back over to title. They'll make the necessary corrections. And then once they make the corrections, you give your final approval and okay. The settlement statement is a breakdown of what you can expect to get at closing and all of the fees, if any, how they break down. So, for example, it'll have the sales price of the property, it'll have the county taxes that have been prorated, it'll have, if you have a mortgage, it'll have the mortgage amount that needs to be paid off. There are judgments, it'll have the judgment on here that needs to be paid off. Back taxes, it'll have that as well. And then over here, it'll give a subtotal. And then what you're most interested in is due to seller, meaning what will you walk away with after the sale? Step 7, closing payment. Show me the money. Okay. So for Mr. Jennings, we sent a mobile notary a day prior to closing because he was out of state. And we figured for him that this will be a simpler process than him trying to go back to the library and having him try to figure out how to sign again and getting help. And that way, when the mobile notary was out there, we were on the phone with the notary. So in case he had any questions, we would ask. We would answer them at that point. Those notarized documents were overnighted back to KC. And the day of closing, we signed. The wire transfer was sent out that day because all parties had signed prior to 12 noon, and then copies of the closing documents were sent out. Okay, the finish line. With the sale complete and all the issues resolved, Mr. Jennings was relieved to close this chapter on his terms. Even today, I make it a point to check on him as a reminder that peace of mind often goes beyond the closing day, and that the people that we work with are real people. They're not just a number to us post-closing. For him, we made sure to send out a confirmation of proceeds. We even contacted him to make sure that he received his funds. We sent out a closing gift. And as we like to do, we asked for a testimonial or review if he felt like we deserved it. And he said that he believed that we did. And I'd like to take a moment so that we can hear that.
Have for you is what led you to sale? So the second question is, how was your experience working with us?
Well, the experience working with Mr. Dotson and his company was fabulous. The people were treating me really well and gave me every consideration to where I felt like that I got a great offer on the house, and going back in time and checking values and way a little bit. I know the offer was very fair, and there was many things that were said to do as improvements on the house. So
Excellent. And the last question I got for you is, would you recommend Saving Casey home buyers to other people?
absolutely, I would urge other individuals for fairness, how he treats the individuals. He wasn't literally trying to steal the house. He gave a very fair and just offer for what needed to be done in the house. I'm very happy with the mannerism of the company and the way the company handled the buying situation. Very fair.
I definitely appreciate that. And we really enjoyed helping you through the process. And as always, if you ever need us, we're always here for you.
Ernest, I'd love to meet you one day and shake your hand. Okay.
Oh, we definitely will.
You may be that brother from another mother.
Yeah, I tell you.
Oh man, that last piece always makes me laugh, man. He was a really good guy. And it was a blessing to have worked with him. So let's see, what's next? So perfect time. From the first time that I spoke to Mr. Jennings, it was 682 days from the time that we first spoke with him to the time that we closed on his property. This is to let you know that oftentimes a lot of companies will make you feel rushed. Like this is something that you have to. I understand from doing this, as long as that we've been doing it, that it has to work for both of us. The timing has to be right. When I tell you there's no rush, it has to work for you. A lot of times things need to happen prior to us working together. And I'm okay with that, right? 661 days from the time that we first spoke till we signed the contract. And then it only took 22 days from the time that we signed the contract to the time that we closed. Not bad. So if you have found any of this information beneficial to you and feel like our company might be of assistance to you, feel free to reach out to us. I would love to hear from you and be able to help you if we could. I understand that we're not a fit for everyone, and that's okay. But if we can help, I would love to. Our contact information is below. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Bye for now.